Hello everyone. So today I will be speaking about what do data scientists actually do. So the thought that comes to our mind is data science is very complicated, right? Often majority of us avoid discussing data science or avoid looking into what data science is because we think it is very complicated, right? Uh, in general, people say data scientists identify problems, they do data collection, they do data processing, they do data analysis, they build up models, and then they do data model deployment. Confusing, right? Now, this is exactly what I'm here for. I will be telling you data science concepts, data science modeling, and everything about data science in the later videos to come in very simple words. As of today, I will tell you what data scientist does in a very simple words. So let's have a look at what does a data scientist actually do, right? So this particular process that a data scientist follows is known as CRISP-DM, which is cross-industry standard practices for data mining. It all starts with understanding the business problem. You have a customer who has come to you, you have your stakeholder who has come to you, probably with a problem, right? You need to understand the problem. You need to understand what your output is, or maybe what is the output that you're looking for, or maybe the output that the customer is looking for. For that, you need to understand the business. Probably let me explain this with a very simple example. Okay, your stakeholder or your customer is a bank that provides a loan. It can be an unsecured loan, it can be a secured loan, right? So what are the factors that the bank looks at within his customers? So the factors that the bank looks at is maybe the age of the customer, maybe the credit score of the customer, the income of the customer, maybe his designation, maybe how many more loans does he have, maybe is he late on payments. So these are the factors that the customer actually looks into, and which you as a data scientist or a data analyst need to look into. So that is what we mean by understanding the business. What is your business about? What is the domain? More domain knowledge you have, the better you will be able to understand the problem. The better you understand the problem, in a better way, you would be able to accumulate data, right? Now, say for this example, this bank approaches you, asks you to make a model or maybe make a program which would tell them if there is a new customer that walks in and he's applying for a loan, would he be a potential defaulter or not a potential defaulter, right? So the bank already has some historical data, right? So you understand that historical data. So that is what comes under data understanding. What are the different variables, the different columns that they have in the data sets, right? Maybe they have, the as I said, the age of the customer, they have the credit score of the customer, they have what is his income, right? They also have, does he have any other income, right? They might also have how many earlier loans are already running on this particular customer. They might also have if he was ever late in any of the payments, right? So you need to understand if you have the correct data to start with. Then comes the step which is known as data preparation. Now, when I say data preparation, maybe the data that your customer or your stakeholder has provided has a lot of missing values. Maybe some of the values are not there. You need to understand if these values which are not there, was it because of a typing error? Was it intentional? Maybe the data that you have received has got extreme values. Now, these extreme values are referred to as outliers. What is an extreme value? Extreme value is something to the very high or to very low. Maybe the data that you have got, one of the customers has income in crores, while the average income of the other customers is in a few lakhs, right? A few hundred thousands. You need to understand these are the data points which are on the extreme side. So these are called outliers. So when you're processing this data, you need to take a call. Do you want to actually keep them or do you want to replace them? Usually we take mean, median or mode while we do data replacement, right? Or there are other methods known as KNN imputer if you want to replace data, right? So this data cleaning, that is looking at if there is any missing values, if you looking at if there are any outliers, and then analyzing data on the various variables. Maybe you want to compare the age of the customer with if he has defaulted or not, because you have all the information in the historical data already, right? So you want to know if a particular age customer is actually defaulting. You might want to know if a particular designation customer is defaulting, or maybe you want to analyze if a customer with a particular credit score is defaulting, right? So you do all these steps in exploratory data analysis. Yeah, simple. Now when you make the model, you first do all this, right? And after data preparation, you go in and make a model. Now what is a model, right? Model is nothing but an algorithm that you write using maybe Python or the language R, which will take input of this existing historical data and give you an output, right? Based on the model, right? Now what are the different techniques, or what are the different kinds in models? There are two major techniques or two major kinds. One is known as supervised learning and the other one is known as unsupervised learning. What is supervised learning? Say you are a student in a school. Now the teacher would tell you this is what you need to learn and this is what you would give as output, right? What is unsupervised learning? Unsupervised learning is somebody which in a mature age like you and me, who knows that he wants an information, so he reads books, he does research online and analyzes the information that he has learned, analyzes the patterns and then takes out the output. So in unsupervised learning, the machine analyzes patterns and comes up with various outputs. As simple as that. So in supervised learning, there are two kinds of techniques. One is known as regression and one is known as classification. Now what is regression? Regression is a technique you use when your output variable is in numbers. It is continuous. And you use the classification technique when your output variable is discrete. Maybe a yes or no, maybe a 0 or 1, maybe a true or a false. Now, which are the various models that you can build in regression? You can make a linear regression, you can make decision trees, you can make a neural network model, and you can make a KNN model. These are all algorithms that you can write or maybe use to make a regression model under supervised learning. For classification, you can go in for models like logistic regression, decision trees, neural networks, KNN, which is also K nearest neighbor, naive Bayes models, LDA, ensemble techniques, right? So under supervised learning, there is another thing that is known as time series analysis. Because in all these models, what are you doing? You are predicting. But in time series analysis, you forecast. Maybe you have seen a stock market. Maybe you have somebody who can actually forecast what your stock price would be, say after 2 days. So that is known as time series analysis. Maybe the weather. Your weather department tells you that so and so day, which is after 2 days, there will be heavy rain. So they are forecasting, right? So that is what comes under time series analysis. Now, after you have done all this, right, you have understood the business, you have understood the business problem. You have understood the data that you have received. You have prepared the data is good to go. Then you build model, maybe a regression or a classification model if it is under supervised learning when you know the target variable, right? Default, no default, right? Has cancer, does not have cancer, is a potential diabetes customer, is not a potential diabetes customer, right? Supervised learning, you know what you're looking for, right? In unsupervised learning, you are understanding the pattern, so the machine understands the patterns in the data. What comes under unsupervised learning? This method or this technique is known as clustering, in which you can have a PCA model, an algorithm that follows PCA, which is known as principal component analysis, which is also known as dimension reduction technique, right? You can have text analytics, like maybe a big person or a big celebrity has, or a big politician has made a speech. You want to know which were the prominent words used, maybe power, independence, right? Self-dependence. These are the words that are used. So this all can be done through text analytics. Okay. Now, a thing that needs to be remembered is, although this looks very tough, the toughest part is this: understanding the business problem, understanding the data that you have, and data preparation, which includes data cleaning and exploratory data analysis. This is the part that should take around 70 to 80% of your time in the total model building process. Because if your data is correct, then if you decide to go in for a regression model, you might want to make a linear regression model. You might want to put the same data set on decision trees. You might want to look at the same data set on KNN, and when you get the results, then you want to probably evaluate the model. Why do we evaluate the model? Say when we go in the school, at the end of the year there's an examination, right? You want to know if that student has actually understood what he has learned and is performing as per the understanding to the best. So probably maybe I want to make 4 models and then test those models and validate and look at which model is performing the best. Mind you, these are not the only models under supervised learning or unsupervised learning. There are many more models. These are the most popular models that we use. After the model is evaluated and you have come to a decision that this is the particular model that I would want to use, I would want to give to my client, I would want to recommend to my client, then we do model deployment. However, model deployment is not the job of a data scientist. Some organizations do involve data scientists in model deployment. What is model deployment? Model deployment is, you cannot, in our previous example, you cannot expect the bank clerk to do all these steps to make a model and then come to a conclusion if this customer who has just walked in would be a potential defaulter. So what does the IT team do? IT team puts that model which you have recommended in a basic portal wherein the bank customer has to just enter his details, maybe the age, maybe his profession, maybe his income and other variables or other columns, and in a few seconds he will get a result if is a default or not default. The model will predict this. This is what comes under model deployment. However, the data scientist work is limited to this. Okay, so this is simple, right? All you needed to know about data science in simple words. In case if you want me to come up with more interesting topic in simple words, which I would be doing in later videos, which I would be posting, please do comment. I would love to hear your comments. Please do subscribe, share and like this video if you think this information was useful. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.